Durban, home of the Golden Mile, the perfect surf spot, Moses Mabhida Stadium, and the famous Bunny Chow. But if you think you've seen it all, you couldn't be more wrong. Discover Durban's hidden gems. Get your blood pumping on land or at the depths of the Indian Ocean. Indulge in some retail therapy. Visit our newest award-winning landmark. Or simply let the troubles of 2020 fade away at one of our world-class spas.
But let's start with the name change, the reinvention of Norma Mngoma. Who is Norma Mngoma?
Norma Mngoma is the person who I am, that I was always been. Then Norma Gigaba found Norma Mngoma on the way. And when that didn't work, then I decided, let me go back to my surname, because the other surname served the purpose until it ended. And I felt like it no longer served the purpose on me. So I was like, oh, let me go back to my surname, because that's who I am and that's where I come from and that's what I'm comfortable with.
You reclaiming your surname, what does it mean? What does it mean for your marriage?
because I want to put that aside. I want to close that chapter because I don't want to be there anymore. So I want to be myself, be known as who I am, like my family, my roots, and to be comfortable about that surname. So I don't want to be clinging or be attached to people's surnames.
So is it safe to say that divorce proceedings are underway?
Yeah, we're on the way.
And in terms of the breakdown in your relationship, we've seen it play out a lot in the public space. Allegations of extramarital affairs. I mean, from the moment you were married in 2014, these allegations started surfacing. You've come out defending him in many cases. The most recent one being a video that was apparently for you. I'm keen to know if you ever did you ever receive this video?
That was not my video. Like, I don't want to lie. I've never imagined something like that in my mouth. So it was not for me. So I don't know it was for who. So I don't even know that he knows who did he send to you, because there are a lot of those. So, but they are his videos. They are not mine.
And in terms of how we find ourselves here, in terms of the events that have been playing out since July, since your arrest, take me back to that day. Take me back to why we find ourselves here, why you find yourself in court.
That one. I can't even put it into words, but I will find time when I will put it into words, when the court proceedings are over, like, because everything is still in the process, and I want to respect the law about that one, but I'm not sure, like, how we ended up there. But the court proceedings, like, everything will unfold itself, you know, like, we'll find out in the trial, like, the day is over. So at that time, I will say my side of the story, like, the whole detail. But just because everything is in the court meter, so I have to respect the law. But in a nutshell, I think everything is always about, like, to get to my gadgets. That's all. So all the other stuff is the other stuff.
Mm. Your gadgets. What is on your gadgets that you think somebody would want to get their hands on your gadgets?
I can't put myself in his head, but what I think is just, like, most of the stuff, it's a paranoid on his side, what I know, and also because we've been traveling together, and also I think maybe most of the stuff is, like, we visited the compound together, the Gupta house, which I think maybe he thinks I took the pictures of some meetings, because most of the time when there were meetings there, I was there. Although I've never joined any meetings, I used to sit on the side or we'll sit in another room. Although they used to ask us to leave our phones outside, but like 30 minutes later, I used to get bored, so I will go fetch my phone. So I think this year, when we started preparing for his head capture, which he started last year, so this year he was asking me a couple of questions. Do you still remember when we were discussing the appointing of people? I was like, no, I never sit in any meeting. So he's so paranoid what I know. And also because our marriage is not there anymore, and also he saw that I want to leave. But now he was worried about what I know, you know. So my phone, when we travel, some of the trips that we took, and I love taking pictures, like I love to take selfies. So for me, I didn't know most of the pictures were secrets. I only knew, like, recently when he was asking me about, because when I used to ask about certain things, to me he used to say he declared them. So, or maybe it's gifts or it's favors, because he did favors. So I didn't know what kind of favors that way happened between him and the Guptas, because I've never sat with them. I never even received a call from the Guptas, but I know them because we're frequently there.
All right, that's Norma Mngoma. We've still got plenty more to come with this interview. She will discuss Malusi Gigaba's alleged friendship with the controversial Guptas and more. Don't go away.
Why
Why do I like tapping to pay? Because it's easy. I like it because my card never leaves my hand, and there's something weirdly satisfying about it. You know, that tap, paid. Tap. That's my bit of normal.
At Sleep Masters, we make all the right moves with the Santiago, the Savoy, and the Santos queen-size beds in 3 comfort levels. Beds so comfortable, you won't want to get out of bed. Visit our comfort station in-store today and save 1,000 Rand. Sleep Masters, the bed experts.
Strange husband's name coming up frequently, especially recently in the State Capture Commission of Inquiry. And of course, having been married to him for 6 years, you've witnessed a lot, you've seen a lot. What do you know about some of these allegations that have been made? Do you know anything about these allegations?
I found him there with the Guptas, so I don't know how much they've known each other, because I was new to this whole thing. And also, I don't know what was wrong and what was right. So I only knew that things were wrong when the media started putting pressure. The EFF were asking things. Then I was asking what was wrong. He was like, no, it's just a campaign to destroy my name. So actually, I don't know exactly what was wrong, because what I know, it was we visit, sometimes they get gifts, or sometimes they give him things. So I didn't know what was wrong about everything. But now I know, because he's so paranoid, asking oh, don't say that, don't say this. I was like, how? But you said you declared this, and you said it was okay. But all of a sudden, now I'm aware that some of the stuff was right, some of the stuff was wrong. But he will be the one who will say at the state capture, so he will explain himself, so I can't talk on his behalf.
We're also seeing some evidence that was led by a bodyguard that used to work for Mr. Gigaba. What do you know about the evidence he brought forward in terms of bags of money?
He was telling the truth. Because, yeah, they used to give him a lot of money. But I don't know why they were giving money for. But sometimes he used to say, no, I do favors for them, they're Guptas. So then they will give him money. But it was a lot of cash all the time. So I don't know what is it for. But he used to use that money for different things. Maybe it's either for his lifestyle, to build his home, and also to give it to his sisters, because at the time his sister was on credit bureau. Then he was owing 850,000, and they just pay it like that. And think even in our wedding, in our honeymoon. So they were always there to help, financially, all the time. So although I was not there when they gave him money, but I will see him when we leave, because every time when we used to go there, he used to carry the bag and they will give him money. And then when you get home, you will take that money and put it on the safe and pack it. So yeah, it was there. But he's the one who will answer better that what it was for, because I was not there when it was given.
You've mentioned that you were at the compound many times. Yeah. Do you have a ballpark figure, in the past 6 years you've been married? Do you know how many times you've been at the Gupta compound?
We used to go there frequently. We used to go. But sometimes they used to come at our house as well. So, but although it was not a lot of them coming to our houses, But yeah, we used to go there a lot, especially when he was at DPE. Lesser at home at first, but at DPE, yeah, it was a lot of times. Then I think at the time where I asked him, I was like, why? You said you don't recall. Because I think there was a time where they asked him in Parliament how many times you've been there. He was like, I don't recall. Then maybe I was there in occasional, then I don't remember we were there for occasional. I think it was once, it was at Diwali. But most of the time there were no occasions. We were there for meetings. They were working. So, but it was like, okay, yeah, because he never consulted me about anything. But we were there, yeah, we were there.
What kind of impact has it had on your relationship in terms of any strain that it's put on your relationship? How has it been?
I think because most of the time he was so stressed, but he's the kind of person who's very good in pretending. Like even when he's stressed, he won't show that much, because also he's a very like laid-back person. So you won't know how stressed he is unless maybe you will have like so much of migraines. But he was so into himself at the time because he doesn't talk a lot. So I didn't know sometimes how he felt. It's either there were times maybe he will just lash out. Then I will know that maybe he's so stressing. But because there were a lot of meetings happening underground, because we're staying at the State House during the time, and the State House has a house underground. So a lot of things happened there, so which have never been underground. It's only the helpers used to go there. So I don't know what was happening there. Even when we were at the Gupta house, so I don't know most of the meetings, what was happening.
And at some point it seemed as though your estranged husband was being groomed possibly for the highest office in the land. It seemed as though you guys were, you know, the power couple in terms of his aspirations or his ambitions of making it to the highest office in the land. What do you know about, you know, the relationships he built around possibly occupying the presidency?
All of a sudden lately, like when our marriage like really went on the rocks, so stuff like that came up. And I didn't know that he was so much in this president's thing, but he is. But that was his ambitions, so it was never be like a couple thing, that's what we wanted as a couple. So, yeah. But also for me now, that was one thing that I never look out for, because yeah, I breathed through the wound when he was a minister. Just imagine if he's a president, like that would be a lot. So I think maybe he will find himself someone else to go there.
Did you expect him to, should I say, turn on you?
Not really. I won't say like I felt betrayed, because that's the person that who he is. So I knew that my turn will come one day. So when he did that interview that he did with CNN, I was so shocked. I even like asked him after, like when I saw it, I was like, wow, how can you do that to him, to former President Zuma? Because I think it took him like his own son, like the kind of relationship that I've seen. So I don't know what went wrong between the two of them, because he never said anything about him. So I knew that one day, if he can do that to someone like that, he will do it to me as well. So, but I didn't know what exactly it will be. So when it came, it was, oh, wow, yeah, it was my turn. Then that's it. So it was not like a betrayal, but it was a shock, because I felt like he went too far with it.
Do you know anything in terms of whether he's used his power, his influence in an untoward manner?
What I know now, since this whole arrest happened like weeks before, then he was like, oh no, don't tell anyone. Like my sister have worked for Guptas, because his sister worked for Guptas. I think it was in 2012 or 2013, I don't remember exactly. And also, I know there was a lot of money coming in, but to me, he said it was a gift, like favors. So I didn't know what were the favor. And when I was asking him, is it the right thing you're doing? Then he was like, no, yeah, they're his advisors. So for me, when I came in, because most of the time he was always there, so I took them like maybe their advisors. Yeah. So they were advising him maybe who to appoint, maybe who to remove, because most of the time it was more of that. They used to have a list, but when they start the meeting, So I never knew like someone that they would put in a position because I would leave the house or they will ask me to leave. So they never speak in front of me. So I don't know exactly what went down. So he's the one who knows exactly. But I only found out, like, I think 2 weeks of my arrest, like, because it was that time where he was asking me things. Do you remember this? If anyone asks you that, just tell them that you don't want to talk, use a spousal privilege. So then I was like, what is a spousal privilege? So he explained that. And even after my arrest, he reminded me that. But I was like, the spousal privilege, why it didn't work when I was arrested? So why you didn't use it? So why the spousal privilege only works on my side? So that's where I was like starting to digest, okay, there was a lot of things. Because when media was saying those things, or in parliament, when people were asking him about those things, he used to say, it's a political campaign. So, and he would dismiss that. And I don't want to lie, there were a lot of times I would feel sad for him because I used to trust what he's saying. So I only knew now that, oh, okay, there was a lot going on. Yeah, maybe that's why I also was not allowed to sit in those meetings.
Still to come, Norma Mngoma speaks about Malusi Gigaba's fears for his safety.
And somehow you're involved in this conspiracy, hence the involvement of the Hawks in your case. Do you want to see your husband dead?
That one is an imaginary conspiracy, like on his serious notes. Like that one, I know it's a lie. He's lying. I don't think there's anyone want to kill him. I think it's in his head. Because if there's something like that, he will never leave home without bodyguards. Even now, during the lockdown, he was driving himself. Bodyguards were paid at Lutuli House to drive him around, but they never come home. I think maybe they only came after my arrest. Like, most of the time, he used to drive himself. And also, before then, when we go on Sundays, like, we will go to Sentin, maybe he will take me to do my facial, or we'll go out. We used to drive just the two of us. But if your life is under threat, like the way he portrays it, so you will be with bodyguards 24/7. And also bodyguards, they don't even sleep at home, they leave. So if your life is under threat, your life can be under threat during the day. So at night, what happens? So I think it's something that it's in his head, it's imaginary. But for me to try to kill him, like that's a totally lie. That one I can put it out there. And also, I think on my side, they said that just to cover up when there was a pressure from the society and the media when they were asking why the Hawks were involved in my case. So they just wanted to cover that up, but it's got nothing to do. And I think deep down in his heart, he knows. That's why you were there. You saw in court there was no even something like that on the docket. It was removed. So I've never been questioned in any courts. So I've never seen anything. So I'm still waiting for him to tell me who I conspired with, and who are those people, why would I do that? So there's no such a thing. I think it's in his head. And also, I think sometimes he's too obsessed about this thing of being so special, you know? And it doesn't come only that so that you think everyone wants to kill you. Even with, when he resigned, when he said he was forced to resign, let me put it that way. So when he was forced to resign, so like he was very angry, like about the blue light that it was removed. There's no blue light. So I never knew that he was so attached to power and so attached to all these things. And he became so paranoid, he became such an angry person because he wanted this blue light. And I remember the other time we were at Mandeni, and he called Minister Pegekele. He told him that there were people outside the house at night who are carrying guns, who want to kill him. And there was no one outside. I didn't see those people, but he said he saw them. So he asked us not to come out in the house. And then he requested to have like bodyguards and blue lights and stuff, but they didn't budge on it. But I don't think there's anyone who wants to kill him, on a serious note. I think it's in his head. You know, sometimes when you are in power for too long and you get attached to it, you think it's a must to have. So I think he hasn't been in his senses to face the reality that, hell no, you're not the minister anymore. So maybe he will become a minister in the next future because everything is possible with politics. But minister anymore, I don't think there's anyone who wants to kill him. So,
and you know, a lot of people will say you've put up with so much for so long.
Yeah.
What is it that was the final straw for you? What is it that said, you know what, I'm done?
It's a lot of things. For me, it's him not to want to take responsibility of certain actions, and also not to want to be held accountable. Every time when he does something wrong, then he will say, it's a political campaign. And also, what I didn't like is each and every time when he does something, when he writes a statement, he will say like, my wife and I, and without coming to me. So I felt every time I used to tell him, like, you know, this is such a disrespect. You know, you have to be so decent enough to come to me to tell me what happened. Because for him, it's not like he really wants a relationship. It's just like because he has a problem of a porn addiction. Because he's always watching porn, and sometimes for him it's a fantasy. And then he will go sleep with that person and people will catch feelings. And then Malusi is gone, right? It's like he already passed. And then people now, they start like reacting, you know, like you use me, I'm going to tell your wife. Because most of the time I never even find out. Like it will be the girls, like they will send that to me. Then it will start from there.
Threats on your life possibly, I mean, people would say you coming out to speak now so candidly about the past couple of years, you know, could possibly put your own life in danger.
I'm not a person like who's a coward. Like I'm not scared of anything. So all of us will die in one day. If that's my calling to die like that, like, let it be. But I will never stop living my life to the fullest just because I'm scared of him. You know, I'm not scared of him. I'm not scared of anyone. And people sometimes will like, no, you're going to disappear, you know, comrades. And also when the Hawks were involved, people were so scared. Me, I'm so chilled. Like, I'm so chilled. So it's up to him. If he wants us to be civil, because that's what I proposed before the whole drama, I think it was early this year, and I think I stopped posting him last year. So I wanted to focus on myself, focus on my kids, focus on my things. So when he saw that, like, I'm so out of his life, then that's where he started, like, following me, started, like, being so moody and saying all these things about me. But being scared now. So they can threaten me, but I know what to do. Like there's law out there. As much as he think maybe just because, you know, people in positions, or maybe he will use power over me, but even the host can be held accountable. I know my rights. I have like a best legal team. So I'm not scared of anything, especially him. I'm not scared of him.
If for some reason the Commission of State Capture, the inquiry, happens to call you up, will you testify?
why not? I'm a South African citizen, so I will go. I will say my part. Like, he knows I'm a very honest person, so I will say what I know. If I don't know something, I don't know it. And also, because I know he's that kind of a person, even he knows something, he always say, I don't recall, I don't recall. So if I recall, I will remind him. That's it. Yeah.
Where to from here for Norma Mngoma? Where to from here?
I'm busy with my foundation, actually, because it's something that I put on hold like last year, 2 years back, because it was the other thing that we used to fight about it. So when I travel, I visit school, so you'll be like, no, people are seeing you, you're doing this and that. So because we're fighting a lot, like I was like, let me put it on the side, let me go back to school, let me do this and this. But for him, because he knows when he leaves home what he does, so he thought it was the same thing about me. So it came in a point like it became so toxic, because he's that person, like he will call with video calls, he want to see you, he accusing you of this and that. So according to him, all this job work is mine, or Devin. So if someone donates, it donates just because he wants me. If I working with this person, so he's that kind of a person. But also when he puts it out there in public, it will be like a vice versa. He will act like it's me who's like that. So that's why I don't want any part of that marriage anymore. Yeah. But I don't regret anything, because I agreed to get married to him. We had kids. We had a lot of highs, and there was a lot of lows. Yeah. Like, it was a lot. So then I just want to close the chapter and move on and do things that I like, and focus on my career in fashion, study, focus in businesses and projects that I'm busy with. So the other side, like, someone else will fit it in, so not me.
Thank you for your time, Norma.
You're welcome.
So that was Norma Mngoma in conversation with ENCA's Sli Masikane. Still ahead, we have a panel who are going to discuss some of the many revelations that Norma Mngoma discussed in that interview. Stay with us for that.